All right, welcome back. This is still the Polity reaching live from Abuja. Like I said before the break, we'll be delving into the Kogi State politics, the elections that are coming soon, talking about the gubernatorial election. I've been joined now by Mr. Abdullahi Suleiman Omale. He's a columnist with Daily Trust, and he is also, let me make sure I get this correctly, he's also the chairman, Kogi Political Awareness Initiative. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
All right. Due to limited time, let's delve straight into it. What are the issues of concern? Elections are coming soon. We've seen that the XDP and the candidate just recently cried out about possibility of violence. What's going on?
Yes. Okay. Basically, as Kogi State election draws closer, there are actually expectation of the people. And the issue of the SDP candidate was due to issues related to enforcement of candidature by the APC as a whole. As we all know, the SDP governorship candidate in person of Murtala Ajaka was the National Deputy Publicity Secretary of the APC. So at the end of the day, when His Excellency, the Governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yahaya Adoza Bello, endorsed the candidate, he was compelled to resign from his position and, get into another political party to enable him meet up the demand of the people, since some people around Kogi has so much expectation with him.
Right. Is this part of the reason, or what was this also caused by the fact that the governor chose someone who is also from his own region, that is seen as a minority in Kogi State? Okay,
very good. So one of the basic issues that lingers around Kogi politics today is failure in meeting the expectation of the people. GUIB started his administration as, a unifier. So unifier in the sense that he has carried everybody from all the geopolitical zones together. For example, the SSG, which is the Secretary to the State Government, is from the Okun, that is the Yoruba West, the Kogi West. Yeah. And we have the Deputy Governor from Kogi East and him himself from the Kogi Central. So basically, GUIB's cabinet consisted of all these people from these geopolitical zones. So the understanding there is, if GUIB started, with the sole aim of unification, what happens at the end of the day? And the expectations of Kogites was that the governorship aspirant should either be zoned to the Kogi West or the Kogi East, with the expectation that the Kogi Central has spent 8 years in office. So one other complaint of the people is that this anointed candidate, Ododo Ahmed Usman, is also from same local government and same ward as the governor. So this is one of the basic issues that lingers around Kogi politics today. But
do you think that can actually affect his chances? Because people say, this is a minority, this person's, some persons even said that due to the advent of the beavers, that the numbers that we've seen come from Governor Yahaya Bello's zone will not, Kogi Central, will not be the same this time around, because it will cut down on whatever malpractices that might happen, and that ideally the APC candidate shouldn't be able to win because he has a small level of block votes, so to speak. Do you think this will have any part to play? Okay, analytically, when we talk about election with the invent of the beavers, we understand very well and critically that the vote of people actually count to the highest minimum. So I think we have three basic contenders as it speaks now in Kogi State. Dino Malai from the PDP, Murtala Ajaka from the SDP, and Ododo Ahmed Usman from the APC. One of the basic complaints of the people is that the anointed candidate of His Excellency Governor Yahaya Adoza Bello might not have the antecedent that others have, that political will. In fact, some areas in Kogi State, it was only when OAU was anointed that he got people begin to get a little awareness about him.
So definitely there is going to be an issue from there, because what really matters is the choice of the populace, the choice of the people. And I believe every political party is putting in strategy to make sure the party wins. I think that is one of the loopholes from the APC, which I think, you know, from campaigns they are holding. I don't know the strategy they want to adopt, but I believe the other candidates might actually be more louder than the APC candidate himself, because he's just an anointed candidate of the governor.
All right, let me just cut in there quickly. We'll delve back into the dynamics of the politics, but you've mentioned something a couple of times I want you to dwell on. Yes. You keep saying the expectations of the people. Yes. What exactly are Kogi people looking for? Okay, so
I would say the Yaya Adoza Bello's administration have done well in some areas, but in areas of you know, civil service, there are some issues lingering around it. So people expected that even with the advent of, you know, the inventory, the educational reform of Governor Yaya Adoza Bello, you know, one or two infrastructures is putting down in the state. People still wanted the unification agenda to stand. And, you know, the unification agenda failed, because it was more like a candidate being enforced upon the people, and they have to you know, to support the candidate. So that unification agenda has actually brought not just an issue within the state, but even within the political party.
Well, in the interest of fairness, what was meant to be the next rotation? Was this meant to be Kogi, you know, Kogi East, or, you know, what was the expectation really?
I wouldn't want to directly say a particular zone was expected, but I believed it shouldn't have been Kogi Central. It should have either been the west or the east. You know, prior to the emergence of His Excellency Governor Yaya Adoza Bello as governor, Audu won the election, and upon his death, Yaya Bello became the governor of Kogi State. Spent 8 years from the central. So we believe if there is another candidate coming in from, you know, the ruling party, because Kogi plays a party system. Everybody understands Kogi plays a party system, which means the party in power has the highest bid and opportunity to take over power. So the expectation of people was that power should have been zoned to either the west or to the east in order to keep that unification. So many people believe the unification of agenda of Yaya Adoza Bello is actually a mere mirage, because some other people speculate that even the candidate is his cousin, you know, same word. So there are so many things to look at about that.
All right, that's fair enough. Back to the politics. You, while laying it out, you mentioned 3 candidates.
Yes.
Well, interestingly, there's a candidate that I feel, when these conversations are being had, he seems to be relegated to the back seat. That's the PDP candidate.
Yes.
Recently, I saw he has begun a little bit of his campaigns or his movement, or as he called it, testing the mic. That's what he called it.
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
I saw a crowd, you know, listening to him and his words. So I'd like you to know what level of threat, you know, quote unquote, not I don't mean in a negative way.
Yes, yes.
Does it pose to the other candidates? And why do you think it seems as though he's not being given the level of, you know, attention that yes. Others are getting at the moment?
Okay. I wouldn't want to hate on party politics, but I believe very well that the decision of PDP in Kogi State actually brought about so many obstacles even within the party. If you recall, when Dino Omale was announced the governorship as candidate of the party, several people, executives from the party, came out to complain publicly, even in a press release. They made complaint that why is the national, you know, party, why is the national leadership of the party enforcing a candidate on them? So I don't really know what is going on, but it all seems like it's not actually a candidate that was really expected or wanted. It seems like it was not actually a decision of the state, you know, the PDP state party, decision. Yes, that's one of the issues. So, but I personally, I watched one of Dino Omale's interview, and from my own end, I must confess that he's actually very intellectual. He has antecedents. You know, he has served in the House of Assembly, and he has also served as a senator representing Kogi West.
Well, you know, he's also quite a powerful character, so to speak. Do you think that plays a part here?
Of course, it plays a part. That is where I was actually heading to. You know, I watched one of his interview, and he was very, very objective. You know, the questions he was asked, the way he answered them, you know, intellectually, it felt like Dino Omale has something to offer. But it's too bad that, you know, some of the characters portrayed on media and other things might pose a greater influence on, you know, his bid. And sorry to say, even the party itself are not taking the activities of Dino Omale serious within the state, because it all seems like an enforcement. So I think the issue that lingers around APC and that issues that lingers around PDP have one or two similarities. You know, in the APC, it was an enforcement. Primaries were supposed to be held, where people come to, you know, perform their enfranchisement and vote. But at the end of the day, a day two, the governor announced an anointed candidate. And that actually means so many other competent people, or so many other people with the political will, withdrawing. Among them was His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of the state, Chief Edward Onoja, and even the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Asuku Jamiu. All these people had to retire because it was an anointment. So this issue that has brought one or two loopholes which are being worked by the APC are same threats that is actually posed on the PDP.
All right, so that's interesting when you put it that way.
Yes.
We're almost out of time, so let me quickly go back to what we started with, the issue of violence.
Yes.
There are many concerns about that. We saw at some point there was some sort of shootout where it was reported that a notorious criminal had been shot dead. But we've been seeing all sorts of counter reports that said person was not a criminal. It was just someone who was, working against the party, thereabouts. Unconfirmed anyway, but these are just speculations and allegations that are yet to be proven with any proof.
Yes.
But people keep bringing up the fact that they don't feel completely safe, and they feel there might be influences of armed persons and so on affecting the election. From your own observation, have you seen any of this? Is this something that is likely? What do you think should be done?
Okay, basically from my own point of view, I wouldn't pose a direct finger to any party. I believe in an election era, every party try to protect its territory. So attacks on candidates, like there was an attack on the SDP candidate, and other attacks even on, you know, the APC candidates, the PDP. So I think it's the usual scene of the Kogi political system. Every zone in Kogi has a political background, a political color. I mean, when you go to a particular place in Kogi State, you know this place is either 100% or influential APC. This is either an influential PDP area, or this might be an influential SDP area. That is actually how it works. But I believe politics should go beyond thuggery. We should see intellectualness, and we should understand that politics is a game of interest, and there will be no need for you at the end of the day, you know, to risk your life for certain political party or certain political people. I want to put it that way. When I say interest, now limiting it to Kogi politics, it's an interest that has to do with the state development. What we should basically be concerned, because I know I'm not concerned about tribal agenda, you know, I'm really concerned about the Kogi agenda. What Kogi has to do what Kogi has to put in place for its development.
All right, let's just end on that note now.
Okay.
I just wanted to end with the description of the kind of person that can take Kogi to the place the people envision it to get to.
Okay. the issues, you know, the loopholes, the problems we've had in Kogi as a whole, starting from IGR, when you know the internally generated revenue, which His Excellency, the governor, has actually tried in that regards, boosting the IGR of the state. I believe the Kogi state should look out for someone that actually works on youth inclusion and women empowerment. Kogi state should also look into the issue of someone that actually wants and would fight for the unification of the state. You know, Kogi is zoned into 3 parts. And one of the basic issues we've had is the issue of minority, majority, and the fact that there is no unification. There is no unification agenda. I think a unification agenda should indicate that at certain time, someone from this zone should be in place. At certain time, someone from this zone should, you know, should take over the helms of what affairs. This is to what? Ensure that one zone does not feel left out. And also, one other area that we really need to look into in Kogi State is in the area of infrastructural development. You notice that even the capital, the state capital, so, you know, you notice some areas where, you know, the infrastructural development there is too poor.
All right.
So these are areas we need to look into.
All right.
To bring about development of Kogi State as a whole.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Omale. I would re-echo your point about infrastructure. Because Kogi is a confluent state, a state where so many people pass through on a daily basis, that is very important. It is like former Edo State Governor and current Senator Adams Oshiomhole used to say, your parlor has to look good. Even if your bedroom might have issues, make sure your parlor looks good for your guests. So I do hope that is something that is looked into. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's all we'll take on this segment of the program. We brought you up to speed on what's going on in Kogi State and what to expect. Perhaps we'll bring you more updates as we get closer to the election day and even bring you some of the candidates to speak on their agenda for the people. Stay with us. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be delving into the issue of new ministers and also some issues of Kano State politics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Right now, we're having a problem with the speed. We always know them by their price. But the truth is that when a project is very expensive, it becomes a task on the federal government to finish the road. And so everyone comes to us now, the contractors, to complain about generator certificate not paid. But we forget that Ministry of Work is not the only ministry that the federal government is doing. So we need to, one, be very reasonable with our design that will be very durable for a minimum of 50 years on our roads. We have to be reasonable with our pricing so that you will collect your money within 2 years. You finish the job within 2 years. And we're going to be looking at phasing the projects. Because if a project started at 49 billion, and Nigeria suddenly say that it's going for 200 billion, for example, people will raise eyebrows, but they wouldn't factor the length of time, you know, the differences in material cost. But if you cut the project within a time and call it phase 1, then by the time you want to do phase 2, you'll be faced with the realities of that present time. But if you got a project in 2003, it becomes difficult to defend it in 2023 in terms of pricing. Because anybody will see this project started with 10 billion. Oh, it's 300 billion. And nobody will take time to run the figures. We don't want to be in such public domain. So we're going to be looking at all these things, the reform that we are bringing to the ministry. But I want you to know that I will not tamper with your jobs. I will not tamper with your profits. They stay. But but I want to tamper with the quality of the work you do for us. And that's by introducing, within the limit of our rights in the general conditions of contract, a reform in our road construction, and that is concrete pavement. None of you has been able to defeat me in technical argument on the choice of concrete, but you do it outside this country. When it comes to our own, then you don't want to do it. Is there a conspiracy theory in this direction? It's working, it's durable, it's good for our roads. And so I want to prepare your minds as we face you one-on-one to look at your problems and look at how we can propose solution to the problem. Mr. President promised this country a reform. There can be no renewed hope without us renewing our minds. We have to assist Mr. President to achieve what he promised this country. He will be a very happy man, and Nigerians will be too happy if we build road and the road is sustainable.